Hi, I wanted to introduce you to the new version of Tabgen. It has all the features that it did, but some new ones too that will allow you to selectively include or omit tabs on a path when you make the tabs. So I've just got a couple of arbitrary shapes here. One of the important things about using Tabgen is whenever you use it, make sure that all of your line segments are straight, that you haven't got curves or whatever in there. The easiest way to do that is to select the objects, use your node tool, press F2, and then select all, Control A, and come up here to this little icon here, make selected segment lines straight. If you do that, that just is going to save you a lot of problems having to go back because of other errors. The reason for that is tabs need to go on straight edges. If you have a curve here, you can't really put a tab on a curved area. If you need to do that, let me just show you real quick. Let's say we wanted to put a curve here, and I'm just going to bend that out. Well, I can't put a curve there, but what I can do is use my node tool and add some points in there so that I'm going to approximate a curve. So I've got a lot of separate little nodes in here. Now with those nodes selected, click on this same icon, and that's going to give you a series of straight lines where you can have tabs. Okay, so we've got our object there. Just to make it more interesting, let's take this piece and make a cutout here. So I'm just going to select both these pieces and do a path difference on them. Control Shift minus. And now I've got this so we can demonstrate the rest of the abilities of Tabgen. So what I want to do first is just let it run by default and put tabs along the outside of all the edges. So I'm going to select that. Extensions, papercraft, Tabgen, and I'm going to leave the settings pretty much the same. I'm going to make my tabs a little bit longer. I'm going to make them 1/4 inch wide there. And then if I have a dash line set, it's going to make that size a little dash mark when it's cutting the score line. If this number is 0, it's going to be a solid dash line that will be grouped with your object. So if you like to use your scoring tool for doing score lines, you can do that. Just ahead of time, this marker color is going to have to do with choosing our selected tabs, whether we want to include them or omit them. I'll show you that next. Same with this checkbox. The other thing that we want to look out here is the tab placement on polygons with cutouts. If I have it marked as both, it will be both the inside and outside, so this box over here will get tabs as well. In this case, I only want tabs on the outside, so I'm going to say on the outside only and apply. And as you can see, we now have our tabs on this object just as I wanted them. Okay, let's make a couple of changes here. First of all, I'm going to back out of this with Control Z and come up back to our extensions. I mean, you can use an Alt Q to go back to repeat the extension, or Alt Shift Q if you want to go back and make changes on the dialog box. So let's say now that I want the inside and the outside. So I'm going to say both and apply. But nothing is selected. So it is important to remember to select your object. Even when I Control Z'd out, I forgot that. And then we can apply. And now I have tabs on the inside part here as well. Okay, so again, I'm going to come over here and back out of this to where we get to our shape. And this time, let's say that I don't want a tab here, and I don't want a tab on the two top lines. So to do that, we're going to use our Bezier tool. Okay, we're going to use our Bezier tool with a line color, in this case of red, because that's what we've already set it to in the extension. I'll show you where. And I'm just going to draw a line, a straight line. So we want to make sure we've got this icon up here, this guy right there. Okay, we want to have that set to make straight lines when we draw our segment here. So we're just going to trace over that half snapping on so it duplicates it exactly. And that's one. And I said I wanted this one not to have a tab on either, so I'm just going to do the same thing here. These two need to have a stroke color of red. So shift and click to make a stroke color down here, double check it, it's red, and make sure that your path doesn't have red. So we've got a stroke color of black on our path. That just allows us to differentiate between what's getting the paths and what's the marking the paths for the tabs. So select everything. Again, come up to your extensions, papercraft and Tabgen, or press Shift Alt Q if you want to go right back to where you were. We said that we're using a marker color of red, and that's FF0000. You can double check that down here by mousing over it and seeing that it says red is FF0000. And we want to have tabs where there are lines of color, or we want to have uncheck it for tabs where there are not those colored lines. Okay, so what we want is we wanted to omit those tabs. So I'm going to check that box and click Apply. What that does is, okay, I checked the box, so that's going to give us tabs only where I have the lines. Okay, if I uncheck the box, sorry, it's getting a little confusing here. I select everything. I'll select everything, come back to my extension, and then I will uncheck the box, hit Apply. And now you can see that we have tabs everywhere but on these two places. So that's how you can use Tabgen to selectively put tabs on your pieces. If I wanted to repeat that, again, I'm going to select it all, go back to my extension, and this time I'm going to have the tabs everywhere but where we have the red lines, but this time I only want it on the outside. So just to show you this still works, we're going to Apply, and there we go. So now we've got tabs only on the outside, everywhere but where I put the inside, and we still have our original shape here. And that is handy so that if you want to, say, change that to a decorative paper, you can bring that to the top. You can have a decorative paper that covers your original piece. If you don't need it, you can go ahead and delete it. So that's just a really quick run through of what we have for our Tabgen, and I hope that will be helpful for you.